You guys know that a big part of what I share here is about the learning process and learning new skills. I just really feel like that is kind of where I'm at in life right now. I'm a new mom, I'm a new-ish wife, and I just am definitely learning that I don't know everything and that this is a season for me to just step back and learn new things. And so that is why I like to share about it so often on this channel. And this week, I say all of that because this week I definitely had some learning experiences that I want to share with you guys. But first, I want to tell you guys what I have going in my kitchen. There is nothing groundbreaking happening here. We are just making some egg salad. This is something that I so often forget about, and it's just such an easy meal because you don't have to worry about thawing any meat. And it really is just easy even outside of that. But I love that if I am hard pressed for lunch, I can just whip up some egg salad, put it on a fresh slice of sourdough bread, and it's a really tasty, nutritious meal that was so easy to make and very filling. One area where I definitely have learned a lot of new things and learned that I don't know everything, though I would have never claimed to have known everything, is in my kitchen. I'm definitely learning how to get a flow, what it means to have a flow, to keep meals just kind of constantly moving and keep action going in the kitchen. That is something that my sister talks about a lot, and I definitely realize the more that I do it, how big of a deal that is. If you can just keep everything moving in the kitchen, you will always have something to eat. And I like to keep a list of recipes that are easy to make, don't require meat to be thawed, in my notes app on my phone. So if I'm really feeling stuck, I have a place to go to get some ideas quickly. I love picking up little tidbits from other women on YouTube or podcasts about how they keep their home and keep a flow and just overall minimize stress and overwhelm in their homes. And so I hope that that is what my channel does for you. You can take little tidbits if you need them and leave them if you don't. And that is always my goal, to inspire you or encourage you in your homemaking. Getting all of your daily nutrients is hard work, which is why I look for convenient, yummy solutions to make that happen. And that is why I am so excited to introduce to you guys Grunes as a sponsor of today's video. Grunes are a convenient, comprehensive formula packed into 8 gummies a day. It's not a probiotic, a multivitamin, or a greens gummy powder. It's all of that packed into the 8 gummies a day and then some, which makes it a fraction of the cost of what you would spend on all those things combined. 8 gummies are included in each Grunes snack pack because you cannot fit the amount of nutrients you need into just one gummy. Generic multivitamins include just 7 to 9 vitamins, whereas Grunes includes 20 plus vitamins and minerals and over 60 whole food ingredients. There's no artificial colors or flavors, and they literally taste like a fruit snack. I love taking my Grunes every day. Okay, so just beyond the taste and convenience, there are 2 more big reasons why I love Grunes. First is that Grunes is more bioavailable, meaning that your body can use more of the nutrients in the gummies. This is because they are in gummy form, which is more bioavailable than a tablet. Compared to other supplements at similar concentrations, your body will absorb Grunes nutrients better. The other thing that I love about Grunes is that it is methylated, which means the B12 and folate can be fully absorbed by everybody who takes it. 30 to 40% of people have the MTHFR gene mutation, which means non-methylated vitamins are toxic to their bodies, but you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to do the lab test to make sure that you do or don't have it. Because Grunes is methylated, everybody can absorb all the nutrients inside of it. I know that you guys will love the comprehensive nutrition and the convenience of Grunes as much as I do. So if you are ready to give it a try, you can use the link in my description to save up to 45%. Thanks again to Grunes for sponsoring today's video. Here in my sewing room is the site of many, many learning experiences. As you guys know, I have been learning how to sew this year. I really got serious about it in 2024, and I have learned a lot, but that has obviously come with some failures. So as you guys can guess, this is a spoiler alert. This project, it doesn't completely flop, but it is certainly not what I would consider a raving success. So I want to get into what I was actually trying to make and what the goal was. For a good long while, I have been eyeing a specific tree skirt pattern on Etsy. It's a Dresden tree skirt. It's a type of tree skirt that's quilted and really pretty. It has this scalloped border, and I just fell in love with it. And I have been really trying to think of ways that we can incorporate Christmas decor that is handmade and it's well loved, and every year we get so excited to bring it out rather than redecorating and buying all new stuff every single year. I love the idea of having some classic pieces that my family knows and loves, and just that we use over and over again. It's more sustainable, and I just find it more meaningful. So that was the goal in trying to create this tree skirt, was to try and craft a very meaningful Christmas decor item for the family. So I started in my fabric stash with some really lovely quilting cotton prints that I have acquired, honestly, over the years from quilt shops that I've gone into and just couldn't pass these little remnant pieces of, and Christmas fabric that I have collected, again, because I just couldn't pass it up. So I started there, cutting each one into fat quarters, and I thought that I could get the whole tree skirt out of what was in my stash, and I did not consider that it was a directional fabric. So that basically, I've learned, I don't know a ton about quilting, but I've learned that basically cuts the amount of fabric that you can use in half, because you have to cut out each scallop one way, and so you can't sandwich them together to make a lot of cuts, if that makes any sense. So that was the beginning of the problem, is that I had these beautiful fabrics that I really, really wanted to use, and I thought I could make it work, but I could not with the amount that I had. I am definitely not much of a quilter. I definitely prefer to sew garments. I find it more rewarding and easier. And one of the harder things that I find about quilting is putting all of the palette together, like the color palette. I'm much better at just picking a couple fabrics to make a garment, or even just one fabric, rather than needing to dream up a color palette that'll work in my house with my Christmas decor that we'll love for years and it's timeless. I'm not super good at that. And so I knew I was very confident in the fabric that I had in my stash, because I have loved it for a long time and it went together well, and it really worked out to be classic Christmas colors. But whenever I had to go add in more fabrics, that was where I just could not nail down what I thought I wanted. And I got very idealistic at the fabric store. And then when I got it all home, that's whenever I realized it maybe wasn't going to work. I had the fabric laid out on my cutting table and was just not sold. But as you probably know, once the fabric is cut, there's nothing you can really do. Like, you can't return it. And honestly, it wasn't a big financial investment anyways. Quilting cotton is quite cheap, but you have no choice but to work with that fabric. And so I decided that I could at least get these scallops pieced together and cut out, and then I could go from there about how I wanted to arrange it. At this point, I was still feeling semi-confident that we can maybe make it work. It wasn't until I got everything completely pieced together and cut out and I lined it up with my other fabrics that I realized that this was just not the vibe I was going for. I like a classic but colorful Christmas, and this just leaned more rustic to me. So what I decided to do was ask my mom, whose style leans much more towards the fabrics that I bought at the fabric store, if she wanted to make one. And I told her I had her halfway cut out, and I separated out the pieces, saved the fabrics that I loved, and ordered more fabric that I really hope I can make a classic color palette of that will make a Christmas tree skirt that goes with our home. So this is where the project ends for this week, because that is all that I got done because I had to order fabric and wait for it to come in. I was feeling a little bit defeated because it is a lot of work, but as I was staring at the unassembled tree skirt laid out on the floor and realizing just how much more work it was going to be to bind it and quilt it and do the backing, I decided I absolutely was not going to make a tree skirt that I wouldn't love for years, and I knew that that one wasn't going to be that. So I picked it all up, sorted it all out, counted my losses, and hopefully my new fabrics, when they come in, you guys will get to see the end result of a beautiful tree skirt that we love. Last year around December 23rd, I decided that it would be so fun to flip out our coffee bar prints to winter prints, but obviously that was a little late in the game. So I decided to wait till this year where I could put them up for a long time and enjoy them. And then I'm sure you guys have seen the viral bow hack where you just put bows on your picture frames. This is such a magical little moment that I love to see every morning while we make our lattes, to have the cute little festive prints with big bows. I honestly want to get some pink bows and leave them up all year because it just makes me so happy and makes the space look so much more decorated and fun than it used to. I figured that while I was placing a print order, I might as well do this job that I have been putting off for probably a year. We have had this basic IKEA frame sitting in our basement that I have been meaning to pick prints for and hang up. I did not want to hang it up just as it came from IKEA, and so I decided to just paint the mat pink. I tossed around wallpapering the mat, wallpapering the frame, staining the frame, but ultimately the easiest way to add a little bit of flair and get it up on the wall was to paint the mat a fun color that I love. And whenever I was choosing the prints that would go in it, I made sure that they would coordinate well with the pink mat. I find all of these beautiful prints from artists on Etsy. It's the easiest and most cost-effective way for me to do that, and then I just get them printed locally. I find that such a fun, easy way to decorate for Christmas is to just flip out the prints in your frames and you can store them in the frame, which just makes it so easy and fun and simple way to decorate. I have been looking forward to busting out my sister's new book and making a recipe from it. As many of you guys know, Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone is my sister, and she just released a new cookbook called Daily Sourdough, and I just love her approach to sourdough. It's so simple. She makes it to where anyone can do it, and she really focuses on getting sourdough on the table, feeding your family, and less on all the sciences and stuff. Basically, she just doesn't overcomplicate it, and I love that. One of the things that I have been really interested in lately is pies. I want to make more pies. My niece absolutely loves to make pies. And funny enough, she came over for the second half of this, but she taught me everything I know about pies. So I'm following her mom's recipe in the cookbook. And one little tidbit she would want me to tell you guys is to always mix your pie dough with a blender or a food processor so it doesn't get overworked. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, and I'm sure that many of you guys have opinions about this, but I am not one to not listen to her because she makes so many pies. So I decided to do that, and I have to say it did go quite well. It was so tasty and rolled out really, really easily. As for the pie filling, I knew I wanted to do something really Christmassy and just overall stick within the season. We were going to a Christmas party that night, which is why I was making the pie. And I decided that I needed to incorporate cranberries, but I knew that cranberries wouldn't just be good on their own. I thought it would be much too tart. And so I thought we ought to do cranberry apple. And I cannot even tell you guys how good that ended up being. Cranberry and apple is such a lovely flavor combination, and I'm honestly quite proud of myself for dreaming it up on my own. Now, obviously, I know that other people have made cranberry apple pies. I ended up pulling up their recipe just to see what else they added, but I'm not one to think up new ideas or flavor combinations in the kitchen. I'm just not really that experienced yet. So whenever I thought of that on my own, it ended up being really, really good. And even extra exciting to me was that my niece said she had never thought of it, which just made me feel very proud of myself. And it was so good. I was just really, really happy with how it turned out. And I've already made a couple more. Making the filling was really simple. We just put the cranberries in a pot on medium heat, added in the apples, did a little bit of lemon zest and some spices, and started rolling out the dough. I have had so much fun just learning more about making pies and trying it more. This is something that I find so charming and sweet. And so if you guys have any pie tips or filling ideas, please let me know in the comments. I am all ears because I do want to learn more about this. As you can see, we had maybe a little bit too much help with our lattice and a pie dough taste tester, but we had so much fun making this. As always, I hope this video was encouraging to you and inspiring to you in your homemaking. I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to head to the link in my description to save up to 45% off at Grunes.